Me, a person who I would think, broadly speaking, is from the left, a liberal, certainly not a Trump supporting Republican, with respect to those of you that are, I find myself in awe, gobsmacked, flabbergasted and startled by these revelations that Russiagate was a democratic conspiracy.
皆さん、こんにちは。この動画を後で全部流しますので、その前に簡単に背景の説明をします。この前、ワシントンポストがトランプ大統領のロシアゲートに関連するでっち上げ記事を正式に修正、削除したことを皆さんに紹介しました。そのロシアゲートがでっち上げだったことは以前から言われてきたし、この調査の結果が出た後も、保守派メディア、保守派の YouTuber などがそれに関連する動画を出しました。多くの保守派メディアでその話をしてましたので、私のチャンネルではそれについて話をしませんでした。このチャンネルを見ている多くの方はカナダ人ニュースのチャンネルも見ていると思いますが、彼のチャンネルでは最新の情報に基づく関係図について詳しく話をしてますので、ご興味がある方はご確認ください。動画のリンクを説明欄に入れておきます。今まで保守派はこの件についていろいろ話をしてますが、では左翼、リベラルは全員がこの件に黙っているかというとそうでもありません。今回の動画ではアメリカでもよく知られているイギリスのコメディアン、俳優、ラジオホストであるラッセル・ブランドの動画を皆さんに紹介します。彼は左翼、リベラルでトランプ大統領の反対者です。彼もそれを認めています。彼はアメリカの有名な歌手、ケティ・ペリーの元旦那です。ケティはアメリカの多くのアーティストと同じようにリベラルです。彼女は2016年の選挙中、民主党の大統領候補者ヒラリー・クリントンの複数の式典に参加して出演しました。今回の動画はラッセル・ブランドが YouTube で出した内容です。彼のチャンネルの登録者は450万人を超えます。元奥さんの4000万人の10分の1ぐらいですが、それでもかなりの人気者です。彼は自分は左翼、リベラルと言いながら、でっち上げのロシアゲートを批判しました。彼は今も自分はリベラルと言ってますが、最近、左翼の変な政策を批判するコンテンツも出してますので、近い将来、目覚める一人になる可能性もあります。日本ではあんまりこのような人の話を聞く機会がないと思いますので、今回は皆さんに紹介します。今回の動画を分かりやすくするために、必要なところで解説を入れていきます。では、どうぞ。
The world moves so fast there's almost no time for history. It seems like years ago that we were hearing that Trump was colluding with Russia, that he wouldn't have won the election without Russia, that his whole presidency was a kind of Putin plot. Well, there's now serious evidence that it was the Clinton campaign and Hillary Clinton acolytes that were directly involved in the generation of what has proven to be a conspiracy. Untrue. Think about how much media you watched. Me, a person who I would think, broadly speaking, is from the left, a liberal, certainly not a Trump supporting Republican, with respect to those of you that are, I find myself in awe, gobsmacked, flabbergasted and startled by these revelations that Russiagate was a democratic conspiracy. Let's unpack that now with the help of Glenn Greenwald.
今回の動画で、彼はエドワード・スノーデンの内部告発記事も手掛けた有名なジャーナリスト、編集者、グレン・グリーンウォールの記事をベースにこのことを紹介していきますので、これからその記事の内容もたくさん出てきます。その記事は今年の9月19日に発表された記事です。記事のリンクを動画の説明欄に入れておきます。今回の動画は当時の情報に基づいて作られた内容で、今報道されている全貌ではなく、トランプ財団とロシアの銀行は秘密サーバーでつながっているというでっち上げの話と、彼らが国民を騙したことに絞った話になります。
A lawyer for Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign was indicted on Wednesday with one felony count of lying to the FBI about a fraudulent Russiagate story he helped propagate. We have to recollect just how prevalent this story was. Every late night talk show all over the news, it was just, you were bombarded with it.
It qualifies as collusion.
The product of collusion.
And collusion?
Michael Sussman was charged with the crime by special counsel John Durham, who was appointed by former President Trump to investigate possible crimes committed as part of the Russiagate investigation, and whose work is now overseen and approved by Biden Attorney General Merrick Garland. Sussman's indictment is the second allegation of criminal impropriety regarding Russiagate's origins.
ここで話が出たサスマン弁護士は、今回の件に関わっている民主党と近いパーキンスコイ法律事務所の弁護士です。彼はダーラム特別検査官によって正式に起訴されました。
In January, Durham secured a guilty plea from an FBI agent, Kevin Klein Smith, for lying to the FISA court and submitting an altered email in order to spy on former Trump campaign official Carter Page.
ここで話が出たケビン・クライン・スミスは、当時、トランプ大統領とロシアの関係に関連する電子メールを偽造していました。その電子メールは当時、FBI がトランプ大統領の選挙顧問に対して、盗聴・監視を行うための根拠になりました。
The law firm where Sussman is partner, Perkins Coie, is a major player in Democratic Party politics. One of its partners at the time of the alleged crime, Mark Elias, served as general counsel to the Clinton 2016 campaign.
ここで話が出たエライアンス弁護士は、今回起訴されたサスマン弁護士と同じく、パーキンスコイ法律事務所の弁護士です。
The lie that Sussman allegedly told the FBI occurred in the context of his mid-2016 attempt to spread a completely fictitious story that there was a secret server discovered by unnamed internet experts that allowed the Trump organization to communicate with Russia-based Alpha Bank. I wasn't following that stuff particularly closely, but I remember it was seen as a defining issue in the election in 2016, still in 2020. It was something that was being talked about, and it was like being sort of, in a way, discussed as if it was just an absolute fact. To discover that this was propaganda, a construct, a confection by the Democratic Party, who of course are now in government, is kind of beyond disappointing, because you begin to question and query what other things may not be true.
彼がここで言っていることはとても大事だと思います。ここまで大きいことで嘘をついた民主党クリントンが他のところでも嘘をついたではないかと疑問に思うことがとても大事です。今回のロシアゲートは単純にその件だけで止まることなく民主党の信用に大きな傷をつけることになります。もちろん当時民主党に協力してこの件を大きく宣伝した左翼メディアもそうです。この件が公開された後、左翼メディアは基本溜まってますが、左翼メディアが反応しないことを見た人は、彼らに対する不信感がさらに深まります。それ以外に、次回の大統領選挙で左翼メディアはまたロシアを持ち出すことができなくなります。それを持ち出すと、今回のことを修正しなかったことが指摘されて、批判されるからです。
In the context of the 2016 election, in which the Clinton campaign had elevated Trump's alleged ties to the Kremlin to center stage, this secret communication channel was peddled by Sussman, both to the FBI and to Clinton-friendly journalists, as smoking gun proof of nefarious activities between Trump and the Russians. Less than 2 months prior to the 2016 election, Sussman secured a meeting at the FBI's headquarters with the bureau's top lawyer, James Baker, and provided him data which he claimed proved this communication channel. It was in the course of trying to lure the FBI into investigating this scam conspiracy theory when Sussman allegedly lied to Baker by concealing the fact, outright denying that he was peddling the story in his role as lawyer for the Hillary Clinton campaign, as well as a lawyer for a tech executive hoping to be appointed as the top cybersecurity official in the soon-to-be inaugurated Clinton administration. Sussman's claims that he was just acting as a concerned private citizen.
サスマンは自分は一般人として情報を提供しただけで、今回の件と関係ないと主張していましたが、それも嘘だったことがバレます。
Look, I'm just a concerned private citizen, just like any. I'm just a regular Joe that's currently working as a lawyer for the Clinton campaign, just a mum and pop operation. Then I'm going to be just a regular guy, a regular Joe six-pack, heading up cybersecurity for the Clinton. I've got no skin in the game. I just want to see justice served with this imaginary pretend bunch of lies I'm peddling. Those claims that he was just a concerned private citizen were negated by numerous documents obtained by Durham's investigation, including billing records where he charged the Clinton campaign for his work in trying to disseminate this story, including his meeting with Baker at FBI's headquarters. I'm just a regular citizen receiving payments from the Clinton campaign. I'm just conducting meetings with Baker at the FBI headquarters. Got to drop my kid off a soccer game, then I'm going to do some little league practice, then I'm having a meeting at the FBI. I'm just a regular Joe. I'm a concerned citizen. This is a really specific life you're living. The FBI went on a wild goose chase to investigate Sussman's conspiracy theory, but the Bureau quickly concluded that there was no evidentiary base to believe any of it. It has long been known that the Trump Alpha Bank story was a fraud. A report issued in December 2019 by the DOJ Inspector General revealed that the FBI investigated whether there were cyber links between the Trump Organization and Alpha Bank, but concluded by early February 2017 there were no such links. So from 2017 onwards, why was it still being peddled? Because it was a good idea.
彼のこのコメントは正しいです。この案件が嘘だったとすでに証明されても、民主党はそれをずっと使い続けました。なぜなら、彼らはトランプ大統領が犯罪を犯したというイメージを国民に植え続けるとても有効な方法だからです。
It was a good idea. The whole dislike of Trump from the left was based on this guy's corrupt, this guy's an idiot, this guy's a liar. And what's the alternative? Despite all this fraud, one of so many that formed the Russiagate scandal played a significant role in shaping media coverage of the 2016 election. Spurred on by Hillary Clinton herself, the liberal sector of the corporate media used this fake claim to bolster their narrative that Trump and the Russians were secretly in cahoots. And the story of how they spread this disinformation involves not just the potential criminality outlined in this indictment of Hillary's lawyer, but even more seriously, a rotted and deeply corrupted media. Ugh. Good language from Greenwald there. It's all rotten. It's rotten to its dirty, stinking core. It's very unfortunate to discover these things about the way the institutionalized corporate media operates, that information is received, not correctly queried. If it's in line with what you already believe, then it's broadcast. If it's at odds with that, there's no judicious spirit. There's no integrity. It's really unfortunate. According to internal emails obtained by Durham's investigators, the researchers with whom Sussman was working warned him that the information was woefully inadequate to justify the claim that Trump was secretly communicating with the Russian bank, and that only animus against Trump would lead someone to believe that this evidence supported such a claim.
その主張が正しいと人を信じさせるのは、しっかりした根拠ではなく、トランプ大統領に対する反感です。というコメントは敵を打ったコメントです。トランプ大統領が好きじゃないから彼が犯罪を犯したことを信じてる。それでさらにトランプ大統領が嫌いになり、ますます彼が犯罪を犯したことを信じて反トランプになっていたことは今まで起きてきたことです。もちろんトランプ大統領が好きな人、嫌いな人がいます。それは普通です。でも民主党と左翼メディアは自分の影響力を使ってトランプ大統領が嫌いな人を確実に増やしてきました。
But by then, the media's Russiagate fraud was in full force and could not be stopped by anyone. This particular hoax got a major boost when the candidate herself, Hillary Clinton, posted a tweet in which she claimed computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump Organization to a Russian-based bank, which would be, wow, I didn't even think of this, but it would be good for me because it would mean like that Trump's corrupt and that. So that'd be because I'm actually standing against Trump. So like if he's corrupt and I'm not corrupt, well, guess what? The opposite was true. The fact is, and one thing I was aware of at the time, even as a critic of Trump, was that you can't criticize Trump this vehemently unless what you want is something that's significantly different, authentic, real, that cares about ordinary people.
ここでも彼はまともなことを言ってます。この件は事実ではないので、この件を根拠にトランプ大統領を激しく批判することができません。これも大半の左翼メディアはこの件で訂正報道しない理由です。事実を知ってしまえば、皆さんがトランプ大統領を批判する根拠をなくしてしまうからです。
Clinton campaign released its first McCarthyite video using dark insinuations to tie Trump to the Kremlin under the ominous headline, "What is Donald Trump's connection to Vladimir Putin?" And with that, the fraud of Russiagate was off and running, fueled by a combination of the inner Clinton circle, their corporate media, allies and friendly state security services secretly endorsing the narrative for their media partners. We drowned in one false Russiagate story after the next, all courtesy of the same corporate media outlets that insist their mission in life is to combat disinformation and are eager to censor the internet in the name of accomplishing it. The indictment of Hillary's lawyer, Michael Sussman, attempts to depict the FBI as Sussman's victim, but the FBI, still under the command of former director Jim Comey, chose to say nothing about its findings, which debunked the Trump Alpha Bank fraud. This in turn allowed the same army of liberal employees of media corporations that perpetrated most of the Russiagate frauds to continue to deceive the public into believing that it was true, long after it was clear that it was fiction.
今回の話で出た内容はロシアゲートのほんの一部です。この件の調査はまだまだ終わっていません。 この件を裏で指示した人は誰なのか、それがいつか公開されると信じています。今回の話はここまでになります。これからもこのような話をしていきますので、ご興味がある方はぜひフォロー、コメント、拡散をお願いします。また、このチャンネルを応援していただける方は、ぜひメンバーシップもご検討ください。では、また次回お会いしましょう。ハラノタイムズがお届けしました。